Hi guys! Most people watch rom-coms on their sofa.
We prefer crime cases and questionable motives.
I'm Diliana.
I'm Marta.
And this is Velvet Violence.
It's like a sleepover, but with 100% more crime and better outfits.
Let's get into it. Let's make one thing clear before we step into the darkness. We're not detectives or lawyers. We don't solve crimes. We just emotionally process them with a microphone. This podcast is a retelling of real events using publicly available sources and wrapping them in our own narrative style. It's a commentary, not a courtroom, so please don't come after us. We've seen enough true crime to know that never ends well. They say that your home is where you're safest. For Randall and Wendy Bjorge, their home in Lawrenceville, Georgia, was like a sanctuary, a place of quiet retirement and a soft landing for their granddaughter who needed a fresh start. Neighbors saw a typical suburban life, manicured lawns, polite wives, and the steady rhythm of a couple in their 60s enjoying their golden years. But in April 2017, that rhythm didn't just skip a beat, it stopped entirely. For an entire week, the Bjorge's house sat in an impossible contradiction. On the outside, everything seemed normal. On the inside, a nightmare was meticulously maintained. While the world moved on past their front door, Wendy and Randall were gone, but they weren't alone. As the days ticked by, someone was inside that house, sleeping, eating, and even hosting parties, while the two people who lived there, they lay behind doors sealed shut with a hardware store coke. Today, in Velvet Violence, we're pulling back a curtain of a case that defies every biological instinct of family and protection. What happens when the person you're trying to save becomes the person you need to be saved from? And how does a teenage girl go from troubled kid to architect of a massacre just because the people who loved her were, in her words, too strict? This isn't just a story about a double murder. It's a story about the terrifying week that followed, a hit list that was just halfway finished, and the surge of energy that fueled a betrayal no one saw coming. This is the case of Cassandra Bjorge. So, let me tell you about this case that frustrates me so much. But it's gonna frustrate you too, guys, as well, probably. So in 2017, Randall and Wendy Bjorge, they were just kind of enjoying their quiet rewards on their retirement. They had two children, Amanda and Christopher, but they also had 4 grandchildren. They were known for their kindness, but their home was far from peaceful. They had taken their granddaughter Cassandra to provide her with a stable environment after her mom, Amanda, has actually just given up because of the teenager increasingly volatile behavior. They were hoping they're gonna steer her away from a downward spiral of a drug use and rebellion. So Cassandra was such a troubled child that her mother Amanda made the very hard decision to relinquish custody in 2015 and move her to the home of her own parents in Lawrenceville, Georgia. The family hoped that the stability and the discipline of Randall and Wendy would fix her. Cassandra eventually dropped out of school because her behavior just worsened. By February 2017, she was officially placed in probation by the juvenile court system. Between October of 2015 and March 2017, the police were called in the Bjorge residence 31 times. 18 of those 31 calls were just for Cassandra running away. She would disappear for days, sometimes weeks, often hanging out with a bad crowd. Several of those calls involved her grandparents just worrying that she was selling or using illegal drugs. The remaining calls were for physical and verbal altercations. The home was no longer a place of retirement for the Bjorges. It was a site of a constant tactical intervention by a local law enforcement. The clearest indicator of what was about to come happened in November 2016. At age only 16, Cassandra was charged with assaulting her own grandmother, Wendy. During this incident, Randall had to restrain Cassandra to protect his own wife. Randall told responding officers that he was really worried when that happened because Cassandra was trained in martial arts and he knew that if she truly lost control, him and Wendy, they would be physically overmatched. While Cassandra's behavior was already very much volatile, it really took a dark turn when she started dating a 19 years old Johnny Ryder. Ryder had his own history of violence and theft. Together, their rebellion stopped being about running away and started being about removing obstacles. It all went down in April 2017. When family members and friends, they started being worried about Wendy and Randall. Nobody had heard of them or seen them for a while. They requested a welfare check twice, but when the police went to the house, nobody answered the door, so the police just left. On the 7th of April, a missing person report was filed for them as well. But on the 8th of April, police was alerted because Cassandra and Johnny turned up at Johnny's sister's house and attacked her and her boyfriend with a baseball bat and a pepper spray. Later, when the police showed up in that house, Johnny and Cassie had already fled the scene, but that's when they realized Wendy and Randall's car was there. This is how they realized Cassie was their granddaughter, and they slowly started to connect the dots. Because of that attack, police finally got concerned about Wendy and Randall's well-being, and they went into their house on 9th of April and forced their way in. When they went into the house, they quickly realized why nobody was answering that door. Both Wendy and Randall were dead upstairs. One of them was on the hallway. The other one was in the bedroom. They were slaughtered like animals with their throats slit open. Police then realized they have been dead for a whole week. A whole week, their dead bodies were lying in that house and nobody knew. Nobody except their rebellious granddaughter and her boyfriend.
Oh my God, so they killed them. So the 16-year-old girl was capable of murder. What drove her mom that she needed help?
Basically, her mom was her primarily parental figure before she moved in with her grandparents. I cannot tell you anything about her biological dad, but I don't know, pretty much she was troubled since she was very young, and her mom just couldn't take it anymore, I guess, and she didn't want to give her up, and she thought like, well, my parents are great people, they're strict, they have very strong beliefs, so I guess that's what pushed her mom to hand over the custody of Cassandra. Yes, she just needed a help, and I guess that's what she did. And from what I've read about Cassie, as I said, her mom was her parental figure and also her stepdad. They were her guardians before she moved in with her grandparents, and that's all I know pretty much. She was just impossible to handle, I guess.
This is crazy. So she must have been so troubled that her poor mom just didn't know what to do, hey?
I don't know, but when I was 16, in my head wasn't like, oh, you need to be rebellious. It just came naturally, like, and the only things that my parents were worried about was like, oh, she's an hour later than her curfew and stuff like that. It was never about drugs or like being aggressive or anything like that. It was about having fun with my friends. It wasn't anything like serious. It's like normal teenage years, you know?
But I feel like you had that, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a structure, but you had that respect for your parents. Being that
Definitely.
16 years old, this is the age when you trying to be rebellious. Your hormones are just crazy,
Going
right?
through the roof.
Like we were discussing it before, but all you wanted to is just to hang out with your friends.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember when I was a minute late, my parents like, fuck that, I'm closing the doors, you're not coming in,
Yeah.
So I had to call my brother just to ask him if he can open the doors. There was no abuse, but it was just that respect that you needed from your parents. So I'm very intrigued. Do you have any information what actually happened, that the mom sought help? What drove her to the point that she asked her parents to look after her?
Well, I feel like, obviously, as I said, Wendy and Randall, they had 2 children. So it was Amanda, Cassie's mom, and Christopher. And they had 4 grandchildren. I couldn't find out how many of those 4 grandchildren was actually Amanda's children.
Yeah.
So Cassie had siblings, that's what I know. Was it 1? Was it 2? Was it all 3 of them? I cannot confirm. But I feel like because Amanda was doing good as a mom with her other child or children, she just couldn't find a way with Cassie how to deal with her.
Yeah,
And
especially when, obviously, you said she had other children. It's not like she had a single child,
Yes.
right? So she raised the other ones well. So obviously, it was
Yeah.
nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
The way she raised Cassandra, it was just more her own doing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like, as I said, I cannot tell you what exactly happened, but I feel like when you cannot deal with that child anymore and you feel like your parents, I don't know, because I was pretty much all the time with my grandparents all summer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they were raising me kind of in a way. So maybe that's what she thought. She thought maybe if my parents are there for Cassandra and they would teach her not even strict rules,
Just
like
the values.
just
respect,
the values
I
of
guess. Yeah.
values that a normal human should have, like to be respectful and to be thoughtful. I feel like Cassie, she didn't have that. It was said about her, she was rude child. She was talking to her parents and to everyone like there were less people than she was.
Yeah, she was better than everyone else.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I cannot say that I approve that her mom just hand out custody to her parents, but I cannot disapprove either, because what do you do?
Yeah, you're not gonna not gonna leave your child somewhere and just carry on, do your shit, get your shit together and just start your own life. We're talking about 16 years old girl, right?
Yeah, because there is no one like teaching you about parenting. You're kind of winging it, I guess, and you're trying your best, and when your best is not enough, what are you supposed to do?
Definitely, yeah.
So
no, that's fair enough. Obviously, she was raised well. The mother, by Randall and Wendy. So she wanted to seek help to raise her a bit better. Just show that respect to others. And that probably would be my idea. If I wouldn't be able to, raise my child properly, I'd be like, phone call to my parents. They're like, yeah, bring it on. No problem. Do you know what I mean? It's a first contact that you get, especially when you've got a good connection with your parents, right?
Exactly, yeah. And it's like, when you think about who do you call when you feel bad or when you can't deal with someone?
Yeah.
It's like your mother and your father.
Definitely.
That's the first people. And obviously, even though you're adult, you still have parents if they haven't passed away, but you still have them there to help you. And I feel like that's what they did. They just tried to handle Cassie like in the family and like to show her what's really important.
And that's fair enough.
Yeah.
So she moved into her grandparents' house, and on that time she met Johnny. Is that correct?
Well, she met Johnny 1 year prior to the murder, so yes, she was already living with her grandparents.
Who was he?
Well, he was 2 years older than her. He had convictions before. He's been to prison, for theft and stuff like that. But they met, and I feel like they started feeding each other with all that crap that they're above everything and they want to be together. They were in love, and They just didn't want to consider anyone else. And I feel like both of their families, like Cassie's family obviously was telling her, oh, he's not good for you. And the same was with Johnny. Like, his family was quite fed up with him that he can't just get his shit together. And he was in prison already. He got out. They wanted him just to do better. And I feel like both of the families were pushing them.
So obviously they're gonna do the opposite.
Yes.
You know, they both as bad as each other. You know, the influence, I guess, from Johnny, you know, drawn her to maybe do.
I'm not sure. I think she was the initiator. I will tell you later about the court and the trial and everything, but they obviously turned on each other later on when they got caught and arrested. So, but from what I could gather, I don't think she was a good person. And I'm not saying that she pushed him. They were pushing each other, obviously, but who do I think it was worse? I think it was her.
It's a simple case of another narcissist we're talking about.
Yeah.
They don't care about anyone else,
Selfish
just themselves.
People.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so she met Johnny, she lives with her grandparents. I guess she's not very happy with them. What happened? I don't think you wake up one day and you think, oh yeah, let's just murder my family because why not? It must have been planned, right?
It was very well planned. And when I tell you, like, not long after they met, Cassandra started telling her friends that her grandparents were way too strict and all that. So the people who provided you with food, shelter, they tried all their best to help you. And you think of them like your jailers, actually.
Yeah.
And it's so weird to me. I feel like Johnny and Cassandra, they were feeding on each other's resentment toward their families so much that they just decided, we're gonna come up with a plan and we're just gonna execute it. And I feel like the only way for them in their head to be together was if their families ceased to exist. So their plan wasn't just a momentary lapse of judgment. It was very methodical, and it was a multi-staged plan to eliminate everyone who was in the way on their relationship or happiness or whatever.
What the fuck? Wait, so they had this massive plan, step-by-step thing to do. So that was when they attacked Johnny's sister, right?
Well, yeah, that's the most chilling part, okay? So, basically, the attack of Johnny's sister and her boyfriend happened a week after they've already murdered Randall and Wendy. And later on, basically when police was questioning Cassandra, she was spilling it all. They had a full-on plan to eliminate both of their families. So in that list of the people that they wanted to get rid of, it was not just Cassandra's grandparents. It was Johnny's sister and her boyfriend. It was also Johnny's parents. And it was also Amanda, Cassandra's mother, and her stepfather. So they had a full-on list of people they wanted to
get rid of.
Yeah.
God. Tell me, how did they do it? How did they plan it? How did they even start doing this? Planning this, I guess.
From what Cassandra said, they basically met with Johnny and they pretty much talked about it. Like, she said that he asked her, "Are you afraid to die?" And she said, "No." And then she asked him, "Are you afraid to die?" And he said, "No." And then he asked her, "Would you be willing to kill your grandparents?" And apparently she was hesitant. That's her words, okay? Yeah. But pretty much, they planned whatever they planned. And they didn't just walk into her grandparents' house. They waited outside, yeah? They waited in the dark until the lights were off. They were sure that Wendy and Randall were in bed and vulnerable. Once the lights went off, then they made their way in. There was an alarm system, which apparently Cassandra has disabled, like prior, to that because she just wanted to sneak out and stuff like that. But apparently Wendy and Randall, they were placing some stuff in front of the door to block it if someone wants to go in. But Cassandra had a key, obviously. So she just unlocked that door. She pushed it very slowly so it doesn't make noise. She maneuvered her body through the door and then she moved all that shit and let Johnny in. So once they were in the house, they walked upstairs. So Cassandra was walking first, he was walking behind her. They didn't go in with one weapon. They pretty much had a whole kit of tools to make sure they're gonna get the job done. So they had a tire iron, a hammer, a baseball bat, and a butcher knives.
What?
Don't forget, guys, we're talking about 16 years old girl and like 18 years old boy. They're teens and they fucking have a whole plan, and they planned it so well that they're bringing multiple weapons.
I just imagine them literally just popping to a coffee shop, you know, ordering their favorite drink and just casually talking, okay, we're gonna kill my grandparents, what shit we need to bring with us, what we need to do step by step. This is crazy.
It is crazy. I just couldn't believe it, man. And I'm thinking, fucking hell, those children, what the fuck is in their head?
Yeah, exactly.
And I know, like, they obviously smoke weed, take drugs, are they so high or whatever? But no, a lot of children these days smoke weed. And they still don't go and murder their grandparents or families.
It's so sad, especially this happened to, you know, all the people who, they were just a happy family. And, you know, they have their daughter, loads of grandchildren that all they needed probably was just meeting with each other, spoil their grandchildren, you know, just have the best time ever.
Yeah.
As you're supposed to do on your retirement time, you know, you just got your family you're happy to see. And yet there is this bitch, 16 years old fucking kid, who just decided because she couldn't go out at 9:05 p.m. and just decided to kill the family. And
that's what it was. It was like she didn't think that she should have a curfew and stuff like that. And Randall and Wendy had their rules. You need to be home by 10 o'clock or whatever. And like simple rules that every kid have.
Yeah.
Every single kid. And they should have those rules because otherwise, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, everyone follows rules, right? Everyone until this day, our age, right? You need to follow some sort of rules to get you going, right? So otherwise the world would go to shit.
It is very frustrating because when I tell you what they did, you're not gonna believe those are children.
Yeah.
You're gonna think they're fucking calculated serial killers. Not even serial killers do this shit.
No.
Who goes into people's house with a tire iron, baseball bat, butcher knives, and all that equipment to murder 63-year-old people? And they're going up the stairs. And Johnny went into Randall's bedroom and he attacked him straight away with the hammer and with the tire iron. He was beating him up. And while the attack on Randall was happening, Cassandra's role was to neutralize her grandmother. She duct taped her grandmother, and she said later on to the police that she got a surge of energy through the violence and she just started beating her up as well. I'm telling you, I just can't imagine. Like, despite being 63-year-old, Randall tried to fight Johnny off, but he got overwhelmed, obviously. You don't expect that to happen. You're in bed.
You're sleeping,
and he tried to fight him off. When I was reading about it, I was thinking, oh, fucking hell, I hope Randall was strong enough, you know, because he's a man. Obviously, men are stronger. And I'm not saying Wendy was fighting as well. Apparently, she beat Cassandra twice. But they couldn't, guys. They were elderly couple. And as I said, Cassandra was trained. She was trained in karate and stuff like that. And they just battered them and left them there. But the most horrible part of this case, the blunt force trauma didn't kill the couple. In a coordinated fashion, Randall and Wendy, they both had their throats slit open. So that was just to make sure that they were
definitely
dead.
that. Yeah.
Even though they were so badly beaten up, especially Randall, because as I said, he's stronger, so they put an extra effort there, okay?
Yeah.
Who does that? I can't wrap my head around it. It's just too much. And when you think about it, two young people doing this, and what they did after, actually, I have no words for it. But they pretty much put them in their bedrooms. They sealed the doors shut. They sealed the windows shut, so no smell was going out. And that was just to make sure that they could stay in that house, pretty much live there.
Oh, God, but it's still a week, man.
A whole week, yeah, they were there after the murders. They were ordering Chinese food. They were inviting friends over, smoking weed, drinking, and doing all that shit. Yeah. So how in that whole week, one or the other, because I'm gonna say that from now, yeah, their friends had no idea.
Yeah.
That Wendy and Randall were upstairs while they were there. Cassandra, okay, she was obviously ruthless because that's her grandparents, but Johnny they didn't think, what the fuck did we do?
Yeah.
A whole week passed and they just decided to move on with their plan, hence why they went to Johnny's sister. And
yeah, tell me about her. This is crazy. You know what, it's just when you said at the beginning that the people were coming over, etc. I don't remember the name of the boy who did it, but there was a case back in the day when his parents didn't allow him to make a party, so he shot them, killed them, left them in the basement.
I remember that.
And there is this picture of him holding a drink with his mate, like nothing happened. I do trying to imagine every case what we're talking about, and it's just, I just got that image in my head when I'm just chilling in a living room, having the best time ever, and she's just like, yeah, let's go, with the party. Yet upstairs, those poor people are lying there, totally forgotten, because you've mentioned that the family called the police, didn't they? But no one opened the doors. Those poor people are lying there for fucking week, guys. This is crazy. Carry on, sorry. So what was the plan next about Johnny's sister and her boyfriend?
As you remember in the beginning, they were welfare checks. Johnny and Cassandra, they were in and out of that house.
Yeah.
A week passed. Later on, Cassandra, when she was questioned, she said there wasn't a clear plan which day what we're doing. They were going day by day how they feel. So I guess a week passed and they felt like, okay, we can continue now. I missed to tell you, before they killed Wendy, they asked her for the code for the safe they had in the house. There was $1,000 there or whatever, some jewelry, doesn't matter. They stole the money, obviously. That's how they had money to do their parties, buy weed and all that. But yeah, they ran out of those money for a week, I guess. So I think personally that's why they moved on. That's not been said, she didn't confess to that, but she did say the money ran out. So what they did is they drove Wendy and Randall's car to Johnny's sister. So they parked it there. They went upstairs and they were waiting for them to come back home from work or whatever. They had a baseball bat and pepper spray. So if you think about it, that's fucking calculated as well. So you can't count on a baseball bat because someone might take it from you.
Yeah.
So you're gonna just first spray them to distract them.
Yeah, and they're very confident now. They did it once, they can repeat it again,
They didn't expect the resistance though, because Johnny's sister and her boyfriend, they managed to fight them off and they escaped. So that stunned them, I guess. They left the car, they left their plan, and they just stole another car and drove to one of their friends. It was like a complex apartment or something. So they went there, and police, they went to Wendy and Randall house, and everything's been discovered at this point. So a whole SWAT team goes to that apartment complex, but they had a final plan. They were planning to take their own lives.
Cowards.
So they were barricaded in the bathroom, but the SWAT team, they catch them. They were pretty bad injured, but they took them to the hospital to get the help they needed. And for a couple of days, I'm not sure, I think Cassandra was worse, so Johnny went to jail a couple of days after. Cassandra needed more medical attention.
Yeah.
So straight away after she was better, they took her for questioning. It's all on YouTube, guys. If you want to head over to YouTube and just search that case, you'll see the whole questioning of Cassandra Bjorge, and you can see how cold she is. She didn't even shed a tear or anything. They were talking to her in a way that they're her friends. They bought her some burger and some fries, and they started asking her obviously what happened and
Yeah.
what was the plan and everything. First, she didn't say that they were inviting people over, that there was parties and stuff like that. She stated that nobody was in that house except them two. But the police after, they stopped being so friendly. So they started asking her, why are you lying? We know now, we had phone calls. You're on the news.
Yeah.
Your friends are calling us, literally telling us that they've been into that house. She didn't stop yapping, guys. I am telling you, she's like a cold-blooded murderer sitting there. Didn't shed a tear. She's showing how she slit her grandma's throat and everything.
Once you said it, I think I remember that. I think I watched it.
You watched it?
But on like shorts, because when you mentioned the burger and just the casual conversation, I think I remember
That's
that.
the one, I'm
This
sure.
is crazy. Because she had no remorse. Like she was chatting like, I don't know, she just went somewhere but she couldn't get there and it was just so casual.
Yeah, it was casual. She was like, and then we put a bleach in the bathtub so they don't smell and stuff. We sealed the doors. Then next day I had a karate lesson and stuff like that. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm just thinking, you're such a spoiled little bitch. I wish I could slap her.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable, guys. And when I'm telling you how devastated Lawrenceville in Georgia was, like the whole community, they loved Randall and Wendy. They were such great people. They were always helping others. They were involved so much in that community, and everyone was just like, how can this happen to those nice people and their own granddaughter, that they didn't have to take her in? They didn't have to, but they did it because they were that good of people, even though they retired. And they still
unfortunately, it was, nothing to do with them. It was just this fucking spoiled bitch. She just wanted to remove all obstacles that were in her way of doing whatever she wanted. This is fucked up, man. It's so sad. So tell me about the trial.
Well, as I said, she didn't stop yapping when she was questioned, so it was quite clear what happened. The police had a whole story, I'll give you a quick breakdown of their sentences. So the trial happened in February 2018, and they both got sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences plus 21 years. So that means that Cassandra, she was sentenced at the age of 18, okay? So she must serve at least 60 years, and then she will be roughly 78 years old before she's even able to be considered to go out of prison. Because Johnny was over 18 years old when he committed the murders, he was considered for the death penalty, but the DA's office final decision was that they're gonna do a plea deal. So they could just avoid the families to go through all that pain again and everything. I don't think he should have got the death penalty, because when the trial happened, Johnny actually apologized to his family and to the Bjorge's family as well. And he said he really regrets it and he showed remorse. And when I watched, I believed him. But Cassandra, she didn't say fuck all. She was crying. Me personally, I think she was crying because she knew that her life was over.
Yeah, it was crocodile tears, She didn't realize that she's gonna get caught, first of all. That's my thought. And when you said at the beginning, when I thought maybe he influenced her, when you mentioned, I don't think it's the case. And now I can answer that question and I can say definitely it was her.
The only reason I said that he asked her, do you want to kill your grandparents and stuff? That's her own words.
Yeah.
But when it came to them actually doing it, they obviously killed Wendy and Randall. But then they moved to Johnny's sister and her boyfriend. And before they went to that friend's apartment complex, they actually drove to Johnny's parents' house. But he did say that he can't do it.
Yeah.
So he had something human in him. But Cassandra, I think she was so cold-blooded. I don't think she cared about anyone. And I can tell you this just because she didn't even blink when she was talking about how they murdered her grandparents. And that's her family.
Yeah.
It's not Johnny's family. It's her family. She didn't care about them. Her mom actually said in an interview, never in a million years she could imagine her daughter was capable of that.
Mm-hmm.
She's obviously devastated. It's her parents.
Yeah.
Also her brother Christopher, he as well said that he's so shocked, and I just feel so bad for the whole family. Whole family suffered so much, and the whole community. It's just unbelievable.
It's very frustrating case, because we're talking about children, first of all, we're talking about 16 years old girl. We are such a snowflakes, and we are so gentle at raising children. We are so gentle of saying shit to the other, and unfortunately, it doesn't work for everyone, and it's sad, like you've got people who did shit like that in the past, maybe not as brutal, but they weren't kids, but we don't show these strict rules in today's world, and I'm just worried that it's not gonna be the only case we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, that's because how often you hear those days, like, I don't know how is it in other countries, guys, but I know for sure, like in Bulgaria and UK, there is a lot of days now that you hear about young kids, like between 15 and 18 years old, they commit such crimes that I could even never imagine.
Considering also that she wasn't abused when she was a child. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes when you look at serial killers, you know that their background is they were abused by someone, and it's usually just get to the case that, oh fuck, something bad gonna happen.
Yeah, but that's what I was gonna say. I've read a lot of comments, people's opinions, and they say, oh, parents shouldn't just like throw their children to their grandparents and stuff. But listen, guys, we're not here to judge. We try not to judge anyway, but we do judge sometimes. But I don't judge her mother in this situation. She didn't know what to do, and to be honest, probably the outcome would be the same if she stayed with her mom. It just would be different victims. Yeah. And I'm not saying there is better or worse victims, but in the end of the day, someone was gonna lose their life. Because I think Cassandra was already set in her ways. Mm-hmm. And she knew that she wanted out. Yeah. And she wanted to do it her way. Obviously not the right way. As I said, she did assault her grandmother previously to the murders, and I just think it was building up slowly, but it was surely going in the one and only direction, and I don't blame her mother, I don't blame anyone else but her and Johnny. They did what they did, they deserve what they got, and I hope they're never gonna get out of prison, because I don't think people get better, especially after committing that kind of crime. And I know maybe I'm wrong, because people do change, especially when they're that young.
Well, I don't have any hopes for her. Johnny, maybe, I don't know, but not
I think there should be consequences, and doesn't matter if you get to be better person later on in life. If you've done such a horrible crime, you need to just get on with it in prison.
Pay a price for it, of course.
But yeah, it was hard to talk about this case, because I hate when such young people commit that kind of crimes, and we lost 4 lives in this case, not just Wendy and Randall, but Cassandra and Johnny as well. Pretty much lost their life. They'll be in prison until they're old. It's unfortunate, guys, but there is a lot of evil in this world. We're just trying to give knowledge to the people, I guess, to stay safe and lead a good life, be good people, and do good choices. That's the main thing. That was today's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.